too dirty. It tastes too tangy. It's not quite earthy enough. And there's just the particular minerals that are there. And I red wine, I always drink it from Chile. I always drink it from South America. I don't drink a Pinot Grigio that doesn't come from Italy because it doesn't taste quite right. I'm sorry, California. You could try with all of them, but it ain't working. A Zin from California, that's good. A Zin from California is good, but don't give me a Merlot. Don't give me a Pinot Noir. I don't like a Chardonnay, but I will drink a Chardonnay. If it's from South America, I'll drink a Chardonnay. Otherwise, don't do that to me.
Strawberry Boom Farm, as opposed just to the regular.
Mad Dog 2020, the blue one.
I think that the problem for me with Moon Knight is that it doesn't have enough food.
No, please announce Moon Knight Swing. Well, we might want to wait and start again because I've got a lot to say, and not a lot of it's good.
I'm kind of weird.
Oh gosh.
All right, tonight we're talking about, and we've already started. We're talking about Moon Knight, and I've got issues with it, and it sounds like Chip's got issues with it. I don't know where Sarah stands, so
we will find out.
Who wants to go first?
Well, Sarah, you go first since you're not going to have the negative spin. We'll start with some positivity.
So I don't have a long history with the character Moon Knight. I don't. I didn't know. I didn't read any of the comics before this. This is my only impression of Moon Knight. And I apologize to both of you for that, but this is where I'm at in my comic book journey.
Yeah, no.
This is where I'm at. I thought I like a lot of it, but I do feel like this would have been better served as like a movie, as like a they could have done a 2-hour feature on this and provided us all the information they have provided us thus far without the draw outs, without the filler. I love Ethan Hawke as this character. He does amazing. I love it. There's many things that I like, but each episode, they're dragging me out. Like they're just trolling me along where they could have just provided me this information and us move forward. But I mean, how it's presented, how they set it up, the mood, the overall themes, I enjoy it. I'm excited to see what comes next. Am I excited only because this is the only Marvel thing that's happening right now? I don't know, but it is what it is. And he is a very interesting character. It's very dynamic. It is super cool. I love anything with like weird old gods in it, any controlling ethereal forces, something that's super spooky, which is great. And then there's all this risk reward combination that's happening. And I like those aspects of it, but it drags. It doesn't need to be as long as it is. I need all of my information and I need us to reach some sort of ending. And it's just dragging on. There's just 30 minutes of my life gone. And it's just like, you could have told me this in 5 minutes. We could have rolled it forward. I would have loved this as a feature, would have loved this as a movie. But apparently they felt like they needed to make 8 episodes of it. And
That's
a season.
Six
They're going to be another, six episodes. Are there going to be, what are they going to do in the next season?
When is the story going to start?
There's not going to be a next season. These are new. When they announce these things as limited series and they have 6 episodes, they're like a limited series, a mini series, which is what the comic books are. Remember, there's all kinds of limited series comic books that are 4 or 6 issues, stuff like that. Same kind of concept. So there's not going to be more. That's like Hawkeye. Hawkeye ended. It was done. She's going to take on the Hawkeye mantle and we'll see her in the next movie or whatever. So there's not going to be a season 2 of Hawkeye. There's not going to be a season 2 of Moon Knight. It's one-off.
Well, to your point, Sarah, and I'm probably kind of in the middle of you. I always liked Moon Knight. I didn't read that many comics. I don't remember there being too many story arcs that were thought of highly, and people wanted to read. And so I always thought it was a cool character. What you were talking about, Sarah, I love the when you bring in some of the Egyptian gods. I always thought that was cool, and it was its own thing. So, and he looks cool. So from that standpoint, I've always, and I've read a few comic, but but there's never a really, that I know of any really famous story arcs, which you've got with all the other characters, or even runs by certain creators. So from that standpoint, it's kind of an open field to a certain extent. But I don't, him being, I think he's too much of a beta male in the one character. It's too stark of a contrast, and they keep playing off that. And I'm just like, that to me doesn't really go that far. But I'm just kind of like, would you get a story? They start a story.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, this could be interesting. And then it's like, well, that's getting interesting. Let's back off. And so if it's only
piddle around,
man, just jump on a story and go with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So all of the Marvel series up until now, we've made excuses for, WandaVision. Oh, well, the pandemic, and they couldn't do this and they couldn't do that. Loki, pandemic, whatever. In retrospect, Loki's not nearly as good as I originally thought it was. I rewatched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's trash. I mean, I don't know what they had to take out, but whatever it did damage that show so badly. I was really, I guess I was just hyped because it was a Marvel show, and then I watched it again and I was like, this is just not good.
There's not that much story to it.
Hawkeye was great.
No.
Hawkeye surprised me. I was on here going, I don't know if I'm even going to bother to watch it. And I watched it and I was like, wow, that one was really good. This one, it's just like you're saying, Sarah. It's like, I need an origin episode. I need an episode that explains why he is who he is. And then you can tell me a story. But don't give me the origin in like 30-minute little things every once in a while. And I'm supposed to put that all together while I'm trying to put everything else together. And it's all out of whack.
That's too much shit.
I don't need to see. I don't want to watch that. I'm not into that. I'm really, and like we're into the third episode. And by the end of this episode, I was kind of like, I don't even care anymore.
I'll
watch the rest of it, but I don't really give a shit.
And I'm kind of that way. I'm going to watch them because there's only 6, but
yeah,
I've only watched 2, and I've been like, really?
Yeah.
It's like you were talking about, Sarah. It's filmed. There's some great. It's filmed cool. It looks like it's a higher production value than the other ones. To some, with some of the scenes especially. But man, I'm just like, can you? Where's the story?
And this is also leaning super hard on all the really new Moon Knight stuff that's come out like in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 7, 8 years. A lot of the Warren Ellis stuff and everything, because like up until then, he never really talked to Khonshu like that. Like he would, kneel in front of Khonshu's statue and all of that, but he never like talked to him and had a conversation. And it was always like, okay, does he have multiple people because he's playing multiple parts to, be a good detective, like Batman used to do. And everything is a riff off of Batman because that's what Moon Knight originally was. He was Marvel making fun of Batman. But only once Bendis did a run on him with Echo in the mid 2000s. That was the first time they start going, is he really crazy?
Yeah, I remember.
Because other than that, he wasn't. They were like, oh, he's doing this. But then in that, when they started questioning his sanity and he was questioning it. And then you go into the stuff that Warren Ellis did after that. And that's when you got the full on, he's freaking nuts talking to Khonshu. Or is Khonshu real? And that is really who's, it goes back and forth. And I read a little bit of that stuff. I didn't think it was that great. I liked the original Moon Knight stuff I read was done by Doug Monch and Sienkiewicz. And it was done in the 70s in the Rampaging Hulk magazine. And that was really cool. And he was like going and fighting serial killers and like crazy assassins and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't, he was more of like, kind of like a Batman / James Bond type guy, more than like, the actual avatar of an Egyptian god. That was the emphasis, that was the origin, but that's not, he was kind of cool and dashing and, a badass and had all the stuff, all the cool weapons and everything.
What wasn't part of it also that there were a couple different runs that were spaced out in time, and there was almost different origin stories that kind of had cropped up.
Yeah.
And to kind of unite those, they came up with the idea of, hey, let's make him kind of crazy and that split personality.
Well, I think that was the first. That was like, I think Bendis. That was really in the Bendis run. I don't know. I know that there was the Moon Knight comic, which was mediocre, honestly, and then there was a whole series which I've never read but is well received, called The Fists of Khonshu, and that came out, I think, in the late 80s, maybe into the 90s, and that stuff is pretty well regarded, but I don't like I said, I haven't read it. But
sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it seems really disappointing because what the character essentially is, and this is being my first introduction to this character, like there is a lot of latitude where you could do a lot of stuff with this person. Ultimately, a multiple personality disorder, like you could do anything. He could have any sort of personalities in there. We don't know what the extent is from his possession, what his other personalities may deals with other gods. We don't know what it is. So for me, it's kind of disappointing to have that realization that like, this is all there's going to be. And to be honest, I don't see how like they stole Batman and made him. Like, I don't get it at this point in the storyline because I'm not seeing.
This is a totally, this is very different. I mean, like if you read the original Moon Knight stuff that was in Werewolf by Night, and then you read the other stuff, he's none of the, you have the basic story that he he's a mercenary, was working security on a dig in Egypt, and he was pretty much killed or badly injured and thrown down into the thing, and it was the statue of Khonshu was there, and Khonshu brought him back to life and gave him powers. But his suit he put on and made, he didn't have to, his suit didn't just come out of the ether and all that.
He didn't go
yeah. But also there's a third personality called Jake Lockley, who is like, he was like the rough street guy who drove a cab in the comics,
right,
and this is the guy that, there you go. Anyway, Jake Lockley is the third. Like, so when Stephen Grant wakes up and he's stabbed the two people, this is in the third episode, and he goes, Mark, what did you? And Mark goes, I didn't do anything. That's going to be the Jake Lockley character. So big deal. I don't know.
They didn't say his name though.
No, they won't. Because they've alluded to a third personality in every episode, but it's all been very small, and you have to try to catch it. So, and I don't care.
Are there only 3?
Well, there's 4 if you include Khonshu, but they're playing Khonshu off as if he's absolutely real in this, whereas in the comics they were talking about Khonshu might not be real. So. He might just
because they're having him as a separate entity. But like Ethan Hawke said that he was Khonshu's
avatar,
avatar. So like he even alluded to that reality. So is he playing him? Is he like going, oh, I get your delusion, but I need you to do this. So here I'm going
to massive complexity to these shows that they never ever have. I mean, I appreciate you. If you were to funnel that to your own creative stories, they would be fantastic. But you try really, and this is the thing. I wish it was as good as you think it is. I wish it was that good.
Well, maybe we should all put our heads together and write something, and I will push that super complexity into it.
Some Moon Knight fan fiction.
There we go.
The only thing about comic books,
something completely new. We can get Alan to draw it.
There you go.
Why not?
The only thing about somebody made this point, I thought it was pretty good. They were talking about fan fiction, and they were like, well, we should do a comic book fan fiction. He's like, all comic books are just fan fiction. Because you were the original writer.
Yeah.
So everything you're coming up with is what you wish they had done when you were reading it as a kid.
There was I went to a panel at Dragon Con, and they had a couple different, so some of the people from Mystery Science Theater and what's his name, Gore, who does movie reviews. I can't remember his first name. Anyway, he had them read fan fiction. It's one of the best panels I've ever been to. It was so funny, and he had picked out these ones, and some of them got like kind of how should we put it, a little blue, but they were
erotic fan fiction.
It was so funny.
Sarah would be all about that one.
It was really hilarious because there was it was one of the best panels I've ever been
Actually,
to.
I think, Sarah, that's right up your alley. You need to write some erotic fan fiction for Dune. Erotic fan fiction.
Why is erotic?
Because you kept going on. Everything was like, oh, well, what can they not film in Dune? Or, oh, they said this in Dune. So you kept being
most of that fan fiction.
So.
A lot of
I was reading the books. I was reading the books, man.
A lot of the fan fiction has that sort of a slant.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of what it, or at least that's stereotypically what it's known for.
So Rain was always wanting to read stuff about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and a series of words I never thought I would put together, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle erotic fan fiction does exist.
Really?
And unfortunately, my daughter's looking at something. She's like, "This seems weird," and I'm reading it, going, "Oh my God, where did you find this?
This seems weird. What was the part? What was the part?
I don't remember specifically.
Oh.
But like different things instead of pizza. Is that the?
There's only
April
one girl.
Yeah.
There's only one girl and a whole bunch of
No. There was a female turtle in there was a live action series they made after the movie, the first movie, and there was a female turtle in it. She was I think her name was Venus.
Did she make it to the fan fiction?
I don't know. I didn't read that much. I just skimmed over it and went, okay, no, we're done. What website is this? Okay, this is Forever Blonde.
Splinter was teaching them more than karate.
I don't think Splinter was involved, thank God.
There you go.
I don't know about that.
Well,
somebody was teaching them a little more than karate.
I will not be sending you the link to that. I don't want that. I apologize.
No.
You can.
I do not want that in my head. I
get on that Google.
Why we need a website? We could put that on the website.
No.
Yeah. No. So yeah, only 3 more episodes of Moon Knight.
Although I love it, I always bring up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in multiple episodes, but I don't want that. I don't want to hold that in my brain.
There we go.
But now I'm wildly curious, so I probably will look it up.
Oh, and it seems that Moon Knight is losing credibility as it goes. Like the critical response is taking a little bit of a dive.
Is there a possibility that they're going to use this as an offshoot to the West Coast Avengers? So they can
no. They say this is going to be part of the Midnight Suns, which is Blade, Black Knight, Moon Knight,
right. Okay.
Ghost Rider.
They screw up Blade, I will stab a person.
Well,
I will be so angry.
Okay, here, this is a very good point. Please tell me how Blade is right and what they would do that would screw it up. I'm just curious. I mean, because I think Blade Trinity is the best Blade movie. So obviously, my opinion should not count because
I actually like all the Blade movies.
I liked all the Blade movies.
And I even like the second one, which most people. And I get it's not.
The second one wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. It was enjoyable.
You have to appreciate the second one because Del Toro took his concept for the vampires in that and parlayed that into the Strain series.
I never thought of that, but that
No,
makes
that's exactly what it is. Like the
total
vampires I came up with, those
Yeah.
super vampires in Blade 2,
Yeah.
I took that vampire concept and turned that into the strain.
Isn't Blade 2 the one that has the where they're there and they have the lights on that van, that big van, and then they have that scene? I always thought that was a cool scene, or is that a different one?
That's the beginning of the third one. That's where
Okay.
yeah,
That's a great scene. I've always thought that was. I agree with you. I think the third one's the best, but
it's the most fun. It's by far the most fun.
Yeah.
The most action packed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I always look at Blade and I go, how many of the other vampire movies came out of that? Like the inspiration for it. Like off the top of my head, if I look at that movie and I go, well, Underworld, basically.
Yeah. I was gonna say Underworld was probably.
Most definitely, because what they did is they took that hierarchy of that underground vampire society who were already saying they're having issues with like everybody else, and they just added like some extra werewolf into it. And like there it is. I mean, it's basically the same Blade Underworld society throwing in some werewolves.
I like the Underworld movies. Some are definitely better than others, but
some are. But they're all. I don't like the throwback one. I don't like the prequel one where they show.
Yeah, it's all right.
That one was, but and then the very last one was kind of rough. But hey, it was an Underworld movie. What you're going to complain about?
Like Highlander movies.
I get why they did the prequel one. Like I get it.
Yeah,
like there was some legitimate story parts that were fun to see and were good to know, that added to the character lines and added to the relationships that we had before that we didn't understand the complexity for. But they could have back-ended and showed like, oh, in the first one or even the second one showed me clips of that, just to give me some backward information of knowing that relationship there. And I would have been cool with that. And I didn't need a whole new movie.
I think
unnecessary.
I think for me, those movies, all those movies that we just talked about, there wasn't as much sci-fi. And sci-fi, there's a little bit of horror in that, but that's a little more fantasy than it is. There wasn't that many options. And so you kind of had to root for any franchise that was out there. I mean, you had straight horror franchises, but to actually have sort of fantasy, sci-fi, those type, there wasn't that many. And so you kind of had to root for them.
I was just looking up Blade. I just looked up Blade. I'm trying to find what the current MCU plans were. Mm-hmm. But there was a discussion with Marvel Studios to have a crossover Blade Underworld film.
They've always seemed
it didn't happen, but they were talking about it at the time.
That's kind of crazy. The same universe.
That would be weird. So my big problem with the Underworld films is footwear. There's no way.
Well, that's
she's running. She's got, not only are they high heeled, but they're platformed. So she's running around.
She's a vampire.
She's a vampire.
But I don't care. I don't care. Bitches got feet.
Super balancing stuff.
She gets shot. It hurts. She's a vampire. I don't care. Her feet.
She's got that leather.
There's no way.
That deflects bullets. Leather deflects bullets.
There's it's not leather, it's like spandex pleather.
It's like it looks more like hefty bags are made.
And she had like a corset on the outside. Like what practical was that?
I have no problem with how she was dressed. I'm gonna say that.
Silicone will stop a bullet. I got that part. And maybe like the other part was like to save the other organs because she's, however that went. I love Kate Beckinsale. She's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Cold Comfort Farm. Cold Comfort Farm.
Oh, I don't even know. I've never even seen that movie.
Oh, watch it. Rufus Sewell is in it. Cold Comfort Farm. Gandalf is in it. Everybody. It is dry British humor. It is on a farm. It's her first major role.
Blade's going to be it's going to be a movie, not a series, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, is that what Ghost Rider's going to be? Is it going to be a movie?
They haven't said anything about Ghost Rider being.
But they've said they are. Ghost Rider is going to be added in somehow. Or at least that's the rumor. The stuff I've read.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether he's going to be in plans right away or like at some point, they have him in back burner. They own him. So
Well, you could
his character.
and that's one that you could easily. I mean, he could be dropped into anything.
Yeah.
I mean, because he rides in on a motorcycle and rides out. So it's
he gets the bad guy.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're going to hell. You're going to hell, and you're going to."
He's an anti-hero. It depends on how they frame that.
I mean, easily in like the future of Hawkeyes, show up. She's hunting somebody. She's trying to suck beat somebody up. Ghost Rider jumps in, chains him, pulls him in,
then goes off, and then
hell.
Out of the thing.
Yeah. 2 minutes on screen, gone.
Easy to add, or you could do it as at the end of that's one of the scenes at the end of the movies, one of the cut scenes.
Yeah, which they love doing those. They love torturing the theater workers and giving the theater workers less time to clean the theaters by adding 2, 3, and 4 credit scenes. I used to work in a movie theater.
We've heard.
Yeah.
Still there. Now, was that before or after Captain D's?
After. That was the best job. Best job I had in college. Your active hours, so limited. You basically just sit on your ass most of the time. It's great. It's great.
So yeah, they say that it's supposed to be a movie, but it's not even on the slate yet.
Rider.
Blade.
I thought
Blade.
It's not. I thought
they mentioned it, but I'm just looking. The stuff I'm looking at, it's not on here yet.
Didn't they have like a revision of these where they had like a things and they came back, pulled that back?
Yeah, because they changed. They were going to have a Marvel's TV series, and they changed it to a Marvel's movie.
Well, and they said that Captain Marvel 2 was Marvel's, and then they said no, it wasn't. Then they came back and said yes, it was.
Right. Yeah.
See, they've introduced him in the Eternals. They've introduced him and
wash the Eternals out of this shit.
The Black Knight. That was the best. Yeah, the best thing about the whole movie was that last end credit scene.
Yeah, that they can leave that in, and everything else they can just
Blade, and the Knight is it the Black Knight? What was his name? His character?
Yeah, the Black Knight.
Yeah, the Black Knight. So him and the Black Knight.
Jon Snow.
At some point,
his name.
Yeah, Jon Snow. Is the Black Knight coming up in anything? Is he on? Does he make the cut?
They say he'll be in the Blade. He'll be involved with Blade and possibly the Midnight Suns. So
maybe we'll see Blade in the Midnight Suns.
Like here's the shows that are coming up. We got Moon Knight now, then Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Untitled Halloween Special, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Right.
Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and an Untitled Wakanda series. That's all that's set up for the TV shows.
It's so Iron Wars is going to be a
Armor Wars.
I'm sorry. It's going to be a series.
It's going to be a limited series or whatever. It's limited. Yeah, it's listed as having one season. Or it's only one season so far. So Armor Wars they've got a lot of stuff they can pull from. They've got the Armor Wars that was the old 80s thing.
Right.
And then there's there was the Ultimate Universe Armor Wars, which is all his stuff got loose and he had to go get it. But this is going to be basically, I think it'll be basically Ironheart and Rhodey trying to get everything back that got stolen. Pardon me. So I'm trying to find the movies, what they're saying are the upcoming, because they still haven't set up anything for Fantastic Four.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out.
Okay, yeah. So here's the movies: Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness is May, Thor is July, Black Panther is November. The Marvels is February of next year. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is May of next year. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is July of next year, and then Fantastic Four is to be announced.
I'm surprised that Ant-Man and Wasp is that far back.
Well, they have to come out with Loki season 2 first.
Really? Oh,
yeah, because Loki. Yeah, because all of that shit's gonna all tie together.
You gotta sit through another Loki season. I'm with you. I was really in with that when it was going on, and I tried to rewatch it, and I was like, nah.
6 episodes will be written by Martin, directing majority of the. Yeah, so it's gonna come out. I don't know where they're at with it, but they're definitely doing a second season of Loki.
So they're filming Blade the summer of this year. So when they start filming it, but it's not going to come out until probably mid to late next year.
Well, it's not even on the slate yet for next year, and next year's slate's done. I mean,
they haven't set a release date for it.
It could come out as the Christmas movie. It could be a holiday. Like then it could be the November release because they don't have a November release set up for 2023 yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they don't even have the full cast out yet.
They're gonna do the Eternals too.
Man, I haven't even
watched
it the second time. I haven't even bothered to watch it.
Yeah.
Best scene. We've already talked about what the best scene in the whole damn movie is.
And the Halloween special this year is probably going to be Werewolf by Night, so it'll have Moon Knight in it because Werewolf by Night. That's where Moon Knight's
that's where he came
appearance was in Werewolf by Night. Yep.
Don't like it.
Did they say who's going to be the werewolf?
Jack Russell. That's his real name, is Jack Russell.
I thought that was the lead singer of Great White.
No, Jack Russell's a dog breed, actually.
I think he's also
Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah. Because there's a really funny here's some deep comic book geek stuff. You ready?
I'm ready.
Deep. So in the comic books, Wolfsbane from the New Mutants, and she's a girl who can turn into a wolf, ends up having a baby with Fearness, which is the wolf god, the Asgardian wolf god. But in the comics, it's not a giant wolf like it was like that Hela rode in Ragnarok. It is like a regular sized wolf that turns into a person and vice versa.
Okay.
So she has she has
Skinwalker?
No, not a skinwalker. Don't creep me out. I watched a whole bunch of videos on those the other night, still bothering me. But she gives birth, the baby comes out of her mouth. It's very weird. It's in a X-Men comics. Mouth. I don't. That's how.
She vomits out her kid.
That's how gods are born. According
to stretch
marks, then. Yeah, exactly. No stretch marks, so it's much easier. Anyway, but she doesn't know what to do.
Because if you're like,
she wants to raise the baby, so Jack Russell shows up, the werewolf by night, to take and raise the werewolf baby. But the best thing is when he shows up, they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "My name's Jack Russell." And they're like, and one guy goes, "That's kind of an odd name." And then he goes, "Well, why are you qualified to raise this, thing?" And he goes, "Well, I'm actually a werewolf." He goes, "You're a werewolf named Jack Russell. Please tell me you're kidding." So anyway, so that was the deep Marvel geek comic book stuff for this episode.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Terriers.
Jack Russell Terriers.
Yeah. I have a Pomeranian.
Or when I used to do animal rescue, we called them Jack Russell Terrorist because they were so if they were spoiled in any way or if they were not raised well, they were impossible to place because they were so oddly aggressive. And they would pick one person, like there was one we had and it loved me. I could pick her up, I could do whatever, move her from crate to crate, whatever. If anybody else got anywhere near her, she tried to take their face off. And literally to the point that we went to the breed rescue, which is, because that's like the hierarchy. There's all these different rescues out there, but then there's ultimately the breed rescues are the top for that breed. So if you have a dog that's a breed and it's a problem, you can usually call them and they'll help. Well, the one lady we called said, just put her down. I mean, we just have so many of these, we can't deal with it. And I was like, no, I'm not putting this dog down. It's not that bad. We'll keep her and figure it out. And then I called somebody else that was in that breed rescue, and she goes, I'll take her. She goes, I have 15 of them. What's 16? But and she told me, she goes, like, she would come to the rescues every once in a while. She helped out with stuff. And she laughed and she goes, that dog is just the meanest dog. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, if one of the dogs has a toy and she wants it, she'll figure out a way to sneak around. As soon as the dog turns, she'll take it and then she'll pee on it so no dog will play with it. Like, she's just so mean. I was like, yeah. And her name was Bebe. The Jack Russell Terrorist.
See, I have a Pomeranian that loves people but fucking hates dogs.
Yeah.
Like I say that with the F word, because if he smells another dog in the elevator, he gets pissed. And he's like riling up, he's kicking, trying to kick dirt around. He's in the elevator, he gets out, it's all tough, and he goes in there, he's rah, 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 and he complains and he bitches. He doesn't bark, he just sits there and grumps the whole time. It's like rah, 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 like he's a gremlin having a conversation with himself. And then we walk out in the lobby and he's looking for he goes, where's this motherfucker, that was in the elevator. He doesn't care, he thinks he's a 300-pound timber wolf.
Yeah, he's got a Napoleon.
Yeah, he does. There's this beautiful
Napoleon complex.
There's a beautiful golden retriever who's easily 110. Easily, he's a giant dog. His owners have to hold him and have a harness with a handle on it because he just melts. He's still a giant puppy. He's 9 months old. He loves everybody. Flynn fucking hates him. He smells him in the hallway and he's like, fuck this dude. He was tiny when I met him. And now he's 110 pounds. There's something wrong with him. And he sees him on the street. He'll see him like half a block away. He goes, fuck that guy. And he'll just start yelling at him. And he's not barking. It's not a bark. It's not. It is. Like he's having this weird ass argument about it. And it's just a couple of dogs that he's just like, I don't know who you are, but fuck you. And that's just him. He loves people, but he's like, fuck that guy.
Wants to be
sorry for cursing.
You should look at the cast for Thor Ragnarok. It looks like or Thor Love and Thunder. It looks like it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And Sif's going to be back in it, so they'll have figured out. Sif would have probably been off-world when something happened to Asgard or whatever. I mean, I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but they're going to bring her back, which is awesome. Because not only do I like that character, but I love Jamie Alexander. She's like super, super cool as like an actual human being. So.
Yeah, Christian Bale is in it.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. He's Gore the God Butcher.
Really?
Gosh.
And Gore carries this sword. Now, the sword he carries in Marvel Comics is the original power sword of the Venom symbiotes.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, dude, they've gone
this cast
insane with Venom and all this. Like they've just come out with like these all new mythologies behind everything for Marvel lately. I just catch little bits of it here and there when people are talking about it on TikTok.
So obviously they're having the actors back because Matt Damon is in it. They also have Chris Hemsworth's brother, Luke Hemsworth, as actor Thor. They have Melissa McCarthy as fake Hela. They have, who else is in here?
Russell
Actor
Crowe
Odin is Sam
Zeus.
Neill. Yeah. Oh, this is awesome.
Is it the same what's his face directed it? Who directed the
Tyler Waititi? I think so, yes. Yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I thought he was. So it'd be along the same lines of wacky Thor fun.
Yeah. Christian Bale, that'll be interesting.
So wait a minute. So how is Chris Pratt still half Celestial when we determined in the Eternals that Celestials are androids made by the What are
Thank
they
you.
called?
Yeah.
No, the Eternals are androids made by the Celestials,
Which are born of destroying planets.
But his dad was a planet.
Yeah.
I think they just need to say, you know what, we're sorry about the whole Eternals thing.
Hey,
and
that-
just
that
turn it
fucking
off.
didn't
Just
make any
say,
sense.
The Highlander 2, the Eternals.
Gosh, I had some
exist.
nerdy asshole try to argue with me, and they were like, well, they can both be celestials, both the androids and the actual
well, no, the androids are the Eternals.
Well, Eternals,
Yeah.
They could both be Eternals, the androids and the actual beings, like the one guy that was in the boy band and Thanos and everybody else. They could both be called the same thing, even though one's a species and one's an artificial intelligence. And I was like, no, honey. Honey, that doesn't work.
They can't. You're right.
Like, I can
They
say this is a dog. Well, this is a dog, and then I've got a dog over there, and I'm going to call them both the same word, and it's going to make so much sense to everybody because one is a living creature, and this is also a dog, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You can't do that.
What really irritates me is that I have the family tree of all of the Eternals in my head, going back to Kronos of Titan, which is Thanos's and Star Fox's grandfather, and how that goes, and then how the Eternals are. And I know all of this, and then MCU comes out and goes and just shits all over all of my knowledge, and I hate it when they do that. That's like why I don't really like Guardians of the Galaxy, because the real Guardians of the Galaxy that I read the comic books, I mean, they just went like that way. And
well, there's two different ones, and actually kind of even within the comic book Guardians of the Galaxy, even within those two, there's kind of slightly splintered.
Right, but
especially with Peter Quill, he's very different depending on.
They totally rebooted Peter Quill after they made the movies.
Right.
They killed Peter Quill and Nova in the Cancerverse at the end of the Thanos Imperative. So at the end of that limited series, they killed both of them. Then when they just brought it back and they rebooted him, and they made him the blonde guy who's kind of like Peter Quill or Chris Pratt. And then Richard Rider, they're just like, yeah, he's dead. And they came out with that little kid who's actually supposedly the kid in Iron Man 3 was the new Nova in the comic books. Because his dad went to get scratches.
Weren't they going to do a Nova movie, and then they thought about doing a Nova Corps movie, and then both of them got dropped?
Well, no, James Gunn actually screwed it up by the way he portrayed Nova in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they haven't figured out how to get around that.
Oh.
And they say they're going to do Nova now, but they're trying to figure it out, because the best Nova stuff of the modern day, because realistically all the Nova Corps is just a rip off of the Green Lantern Corps.
Right.
But the best was during the Annihilation, when Xandar got destroyed.
Annihilation Quest, all that stuff.
Nova ended up, Rich Rider was the only survivor, and he had the world mind in him, and he was Nova Prime, so he had all the power of all of that. He could open stargates, he could fly through space, all that kind of stuff. So they're trying to put that idea together and make that character. But the way I've seen them screw up everything lately on Disney Plus, I really don't have a whole lot of faith. But then on the flip side, No Way Home was probably the best Marvel movie I've ever seen. So I mean, I don't know what to say. It's like they're totally great.
Spider-Man, but it's not. I don't think it's the best.
It was good, and I don't like Spider-Man, and it was good.
It was really good.
Who's the best Spider-Man?
I'd watch it again, and I don't say that about any Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay, well, I'll give you Endgame, but Endgame was so good because Endgame paid off
exactly.
a decade of movies.
Endgame was what the last season of Game of Thrones should have been.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. That's a perfect analogy. I love that. Yeah.
That's what we're all,
But you can't say that was the best movie because it was the culmination of two movies.
I still don't think.
It brought resolution.
What was your so what is, in your opinion, what is the best MCU film, standalone film?
I have to go with, there's three and I can't say which one is better.
All right.
First Iron Man.
Right, fair enough. Civil War. No, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. And then I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's a great movie.
Okay. All right.
Those three to me, depending on what
I agree with you. I agree 2 out of 3 with you.
I like, and I love the whole space stuff, that part of Marvel. And I get that it's not the same. So I get why you don't like it as much, but
they keep saying they're going to get there too, that they're going to do more of
they messed it up
stuff, but I'm not seeing it happen.
They messed it up with Captain Marvel. They shouldn't have done what they did.
Yeah.
I think the 3 that I keep going back to, definitely Iron Man, definitely the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I keep rolling back to Ragnarok. And I know that it's not like super awesome.
Ragnarok. I'm right there with you.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's entertaining. It's got great music. It is the Guardians of the Galaxy for Thor. Like, that's what it is. It just makes Thor like a little more cool. And Jeff Goldblum is in it.
And he's going to be in Love and whatever. Yay! Thunder too.
I know. Brown meat and stuff like that. But you have to rinse your chicken. You just have to. There's slime on there. Well, rinse it off.